Hi everyone, and welcome back to another one of our vodcasts. We are doing something a little bit different today. We're going to do a full-blown movie review. So it's a movie both of us have watched before, a movie both of us love, I think is fair to say.
I believe it's both our favourite films. Film?
Yeah, it's definitely in my top sort of three.
It's my top one.
It's just about there with me. I don't know if I quite commit to that.
I will.
But
I'm committed to it.
It is an exceptional movie. I did a 1,500 word essay on this as part of my degree, which was actually criminology. It was weird enough, but it was cultural criminology, so I think I just about get away with that.
That's pretty decent essay to write, though. On your
it was great fun because basically all I did was I watched the movie and then wrote about it pretty much freehand because I didn't have to do tons of quotations. All my quotations were from the movie, so rather than a lot of university essays where you have to trawl through a number of different books to find perfect quotations, I'd just take them all from the movie. So I was happy.
Sounds like the perfect degree.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was criminology is a very easy degree. I'll admit that now.
It sounds like a lot harder than it actually is. Criminology sounds quite serious, but
it sounds more interesting than it is. Whenever I tell anyone I've got that degree, they all go, "Oh, that's fascinating." I was like, you know what? It's actually really boring. Apart from homicide. Homicide was fascinating.
Yeah.
But that only made up a part of the final year. So, yeah. And even things like forensics. People think forensics is interesting. Forensics is not interesting. It is just lab work and testing samples. That's really what it is. It's none of that CSI nonsense.
I don't know if you learned this. When I was in law school, when we learned about criminology, we were told that for stab wounds, each entrance and exit is counted as two separate wounds.
Yeah.
So if there's in and out. Yeah. So when they say that this person was killed with like 20 stab wounds, technically he was only stabbed 10 times, but there's obviously an entrance and exit, roughly, obviously. Not
because withdrawing the blade actually is the thing that causes the damage, not the... putting it in obviously isn't great, but it's actually taking it out is the thing that causes the issues.
Yeah, causes the internal damage, yeah. So that was quite interesting, I found that out.
Yes.
But anyway, putting our degrees aside...
So the movie is Shrek. No, the movie... Oh, yeah. The movie is The Departed. Just
honestly, it is the greatest film in history.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and in fact, it's basically a remake.
Well, yeah. Let me first just list off the stars in it. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Ray Winston, and Alec Baldwin.
Yep.
I mean, already it's going to be a good movie with all these guys in.
Yeah, and even some of the other guys who aren't the huge names like that also put in excellent performances.
That is true, yes. I think just all round, it's probably it's an amazingly made film, directed by Martin Scorsese. So
yes, so obviously the Brad Pitt and his friend, who is it who also bought the rights to it?
I should know this. Oh, Brad Gray.
Yes. And they bought the rights to it for $1.75 million just to buy the rights to make it.
To be honest, the budget was 90 million. I'm assuming that buying the rights counts in that. The box office was 291.5.
So, yes.
Yeah, they almost tripled it.
Yes. Tripled them. What there would have been other costs, things like marketing would have added to the costs, but it definitely made a profit, and it is a cult classic. It's an absolute classic movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch it at any point in time, and it would go down well.
Yeah, so I think we've both made it clear that our overall review of this film is going to be very positive.
No surprises there. What I quite like about the whole film is that, in some respects, it's a classic gangster film, but there's a lot of interesting levels to it.
The cat and mouse is excellent. The amount of times Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon almost catch each other.
Yeah, it's really tense and it's really exciting.
Yeah, and it's dangerous for both of them. Like, the stakes are high for both of them, because if Leonardo DiCaprio gets caught as being undercover, he's going to be killed for it. And if Matt Damon gets caught, it's long jail time.
Yeah, by the way, spoiler alert. Probably too late to throw that in.
I think it's early enough now because we've not gone into nitty-gritty, but yes, we will be going through everything really. So spoilers, brilliant. The dialogue, I think, is excellent in this.
Yes.
Especially, I think Alec Baldwin's dialogue and Mark Wahlberg's dialogue is exquisite.
Yeah, I think it's one of the highlights. They're just ripping on each other the entire time.
So I don't know the exact amount of minutes either of them's on screen, but it's actually not much. But they have an impact.
Yeah, it's a memorable time they have on screen.
And Jack Nicholson, as he gets crazier and crazier and crazier as it goes on, like he loses control more and more and more as it goes on.
It's almost like that character was written for him. He played it so well. So well. And actually, interestingly enough, Matt Damon's character is probably one of the few characters he's played where I dislike him. Like, not his skill as an actor, as his character. I dislike Matt Damon's character.
Yeah, he generally tends not to play bad guys, doesn't he?
Right, but in this one, he does play this sort of guy that you don't really like. He's got this silly backstabber.
Yeah, he's smarmy. He's very arrogant, full of himself.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that he really gets the love interest rather than your traditional sort of Leonardo DiCaprio as the hero.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Although they do end up sort of sharing her a little.
Yes, there's a bit of overlap.
And an extreme bout of unprofessionalism from her part. Because as far as she's concerned, he is a former convict with psychological disorders who is her patient. Yeah. And she takes him to bed.
Basically, yeah. That's essentially the long and short of it.
Whilst also having a long-term partner.
Yes.
So they don't really make it clear, because she's pregnant, and they don't really make it clear whose baby it is, do they?
No, I think they wanted to keep it a bit.
So, yeah, because it could have been either of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know who you prefer in that scenario. Probably Leonardo DiCaprio's.
I don't know. If I'm ever in that scenario, I'll tell you.
I think I'd take Leo's baby over Matt Damon. Although I feel like Matt Damon would be there for it more. You'd reach the point where the baby got too old for Leonardo DiCaprio and he just pretended it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah. This is a weird conversation. Also Ray Winston is in it, which is a great addition, I feel.
Yeah, because you believe that he's a tough guy and you believe his loyalty. You know, you feel like he has been there for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, definitely. And again, he suits his personality a little bit. He's always played that sort of tough guy gangster.
I generally don't like Ray Winston.
Really? I think he's all right. I like him.
Like, I find his characters to be the same sort of stereotypical character a lot. I think as a person, I can't stand actors who pretend to be tough guys who start believing that they actually are tough guys.
I sort of.
So I'm talking Ray Winston, Danny Dyer, what's his name, Tamer Hassan, like all those types of guys who start thinking, I am genuinely a tough guy. It's like, no, you're an actor and you pretend to be tough.
The thing is, I've seen Ray's interviews and actually seems a lot more down to earth than sometimes he comes across as. He doesn't seem as. He's probably giving that persona off, but actually he's much calmer. But Danny Dyer, I agree with you. He believes his own hype.
Oh, he's ridiculous, that boy. But anyway.
Also, this film not only has a great cast and a great script, but great music. They've got one of the greatest songs in it, which is what's the song called again?
Whilst that song, the Irish one.
Yeah, I'm Shipping Up to Boston by Dropkick Murphys. And it goes so well with the film. Whenever they play
and of course, because it's set in Boston as well. But that music gets used, that music gets used all over the place, but you always associate it with The Departed.
Yeah, I always remember it as the song from Departed.
So I think we should start talking about sort of key scenes, like the opening where Jack Nicholson narrates, and then it goes into how he recruited Matt Damon at a young age. I think it's such a good scene for showing how you can get someone on board from an early age and sort of ingrain them into your group.
It basically shows how grooming works, essentially.
Yeah. And we don't mean grooming as in the sexual kind. There's none of that.
No, but when young people get groomed into gangs or in just to do terrorism as well, that's the same sort of thing, how they kind of sort of get led into that life.
And it's little bits and pieces here and there, and then he's sort of like a father figure to him.
Yeah, essentially fills that void for him.
And it's funny how, as it goes on, you see how, whilst he's doing such an important job for Jack Nicholson, you see how little he actually cares about him.
Yeah.
Because he really couldn't care about him any less.
No, especially as the movie goes along, it becomes clear that Matt Damon just couldn't care and he just wants to do his own thing.
But I mean, in terms of Jack Nicholson's character, Frank.
Oh, he's not caring about the boy.
Yeah, he actually doesn't care about, I'd say, anyone in his group. They're all disposable to him. Because remember, it's revealed that he's been informing the FBI, and that's how he's been able to stay out of trouble so much.
Yeah, that's how he's kept his position.
But
which, to be honest, I think is probably true a lot of the time in these sort of situations.
Yeah. But I love some of the scenes, like, there's so many.
Oh, the one in the restaurant where he talks to the nun, to the nuns and the vicar.
Yeah. And, or the diner scene we have pictured here, where he's trying to find the rat.
Yes, that's also a good scene.
And he goes up behind Leonardo DiCaprio and he pretends like he's gnawing on something. And the tension in this movie is really there.
Something similar happens when he takes him in the back room to see if he's wired up when he first meets him.
And he smashes the cast.
Yeah. That's also quite a tense scene when they first pull him in and you don't know what they're going to do.
And I love the scene where they're in that sort of like underground arches doing the deal with another sort of like mafia group, and Leonardo DiCaprio is trying to text the surveillance team as to what's going on.
And he's texting in his pocket, so he knows he's kind of memorized all the buttons.
Buttons, yeah. And then Matt Damon can tell that he's getting texts, and Matt Damon's trying to pick out who might be texting. Who it is.
Yeah. It's all very intricate, and I quite like it.
And the scene where they go to the theater and Leonardo DiCaprio follows Matt Damon out and he's trying to chase him down.
Ooh, yeah. And then later on when he goes in to looks at the CCTV to see if he can catch his face. I like how they link that together.
And also another scene, so many good scenes. And the scene where he meets Martin Sheen, and Martin Sheen sort of sacrifices himself and gets thrown off the building.
When that first happened, the first time I saw that, it was such a shock. Because you don't expect it.
No.
What? It's crazy.
Well, another scene that's such a shock is the elevator scene we've got pictured here.
Yes, yeah.
Now, it's funny because the first time I saw this movie, I was disappointed at the ending because I wanted DiCaprio to come out of it.
But no, I think the ending was better than
when you rewatch it. When you rewatch it, you understand that it's the perfect ending.
Yeah. When Mark Wahlberg does it, I'm like, yes, this is perfect. And it just all round from start to finish. It's rare to watch a film where almost every scene, every minute,
and every line of dialogue.
Yeah, and not only does it enjoy, but it kind of flows and makes sense.
And I like the contrast between the way both guys have to live whilst undercover. So DiCaprio's slumming it, and he's in a horrible place. He's eating rubbish food. He's stressed out, and Matt Damon's in fancy restaurants eating like 40 desserts.
He buys that apartment.
Yep.
With a view.
So he's living this life of luxury. Even though he's the bad guy, he's living that life of luxury, whilst DiCaprio's living a pretty squalid, horrible life.
Yeah. But he was sort of almost press ganged into that job anyway.
Yeah. And they knew he was never going to say no.
Yeah. He was sort of forced into it, in the same way that Matt Damon was forced into his role.
Yeah.
By Frank Costello, I think the character's name is.
Yeah. The one thing I would have said is realistically in that situation, they would have twigged that Leonardo DiCaprio was the undercover guy. Because he went through the academy and then he's suddenly in jail for 6 months and then straight into the gang.
Well, no, he wasn't straight in the gang. When he came out, he hooked up with his cousin, who was he sold drugs on the side and sort of wormed his way in.
He did, but I think realistically they would have twigged that it was him out of all of the guys they had.
I don't know.
He's the one who would seem most likely, especially with his background.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. It's hard to say.
That's one thing.
It's always harder to find a snitch while you're in the situation than it is looking outside in. Sometimes it seems obvious, but I think...
Yeah, and I guess you have to be certain too.
Yeah. before you go around just getting rid of your team.
Exactly. But yeah, very good movie.
I mean, I did not know that this film was based on a film or a series of films in Hong Kong made by the Hong Kong film industry.
I think it's one movie called Internal Affairs.
Is it one movie or is it like a couple? I think it's a couple.
No, it's one film. They did do a film series, but it's based on the one film.
Oh, okay, right. I see what you mean. Yeah, and I didn't know that. I thought it was just standalone. But it's interesting that Brad Pitt sort of did he watch the film, loved it, bought the rights, and then went to Martin Scorsese?
I think so.
This is going to be amazing. Well, that's quite wise of Brad.
So there were 3 Internal Affairs movies, but it's all sort of based around the first one.
Yeah.
But the turnaround, because Internal Affairs came out 2002, The Departed came out 2006. So that's a 4-year turnaround from I like that movie, I want to buy the rights, I'm going to make a screenplay, I'm going to film it, I'm going to release it. Like, they've done that very quickly.
Well, I guess most of the screenplay probably was written for them. They just needed to then get dialogue in for themselves.
Apparently, it is quite different. There's a lot of differences. And they did get a guy who had to write the script from scratch.
Well, in that case, you're right. That has been very well done in such a short space.
So it was written by William Monahan.
And also to organise to get all those guys together.
But no, excellent movie. Very few, if any, criticisms, but a lot of praise.
A single criticism at all. I don't know if it's just me.
There's potential that maybe there are some scenes in there that don't have to be in there, but that's just nitpicking. And I like it when, if I'm enjoying a movie enough, I enjoy that it's fleshed out more.
Yeah.
So if the movie's good enough to hook you, it's worthy of its time slot. If it's not worthy of its time slot, that's when you say this fat should have been trimmed.
I don't feel it's too long. It's 151 minutes running time.
Which by modern standards isn't ridiculous.
No, it isn't ridiculous. And because like I said, if you're going to make a movie longer than 2 hours, it needs to have good dialogue and good acting and all the rest of it. And this does. Yeah. So this works.
So I think, should we just say at this point, favourite scene?
You know what? I don't want to say the last scene, but I think it just might be.
Well, when Mark Wahlberg gets him.
When Mark Wahlberg's standing there and Matt Damon sees the gun pointed out and he knows what's coming. And then Mark hesitates for just a moment and lowers the gun just a bit. And Matt thinks, I might just get out of this.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't.
And it's just like, no.
It's a really subtle but a fantastic way to end it. They don't say anything to each other. It's a silent scene. No one's talking.
Which is funny because the opposite is actually my favourite scene. My favourite scene is purely dialogue, and I like the bit where Alec Baldwin and Mark Wahlberg are both briefing the
team.
The team.
You know what? I was going to pick that. That was going to be my second choice.
Because the dialogue there is so snappy. Like, including Alec Baldwin's dialogue when he's talking to Matt Damon at that driving range, the golf driving range.
That's also a good dialogue scene, yeah.
Just some of the dialogue is so underrated in it. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, no, I agree. You definitely are the sort of person who enjoys dialogue more than I do in films. I would say those scenes with Alec Baldwin and his dialogue are my most enjoyable scenes. But my favourite scene, which just kind of encapsulates the whole thing, is that last ending.
Yeah, which is fair. And to be honest, we could have picked 5 or 6 scenes each. We really could have.
Yeah, we could have. Yeah.
Because I also love that scene pictured where Jack Nicholson's grilling DiCaprio, trying to find out if he's the rat.
Yeah. Just
an excellent movie. All round.
Well, if you're going to go with that, when he's in the bar and they're talking about cranberry juice,
yeah,
that whole scene, the dialogue, and everything that happens is great.
Yeah, no, that is excellent. So overall, very good movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is our all-time favorite.
Yeah, I think we can solidly give this we'll go back to our rating system.
Yes, go on.
Okay. I will give it 46 Boston Gangsters out of 47. So just very close to 100%.
I'm going to match that.
Yeah.
I'm going to match it. Yeah.
I think 46 Boston Gangsters out of 47. Brilliant movie.
I've actually been to Boston.
Have you?
Yeah. It's a cool city.
Excellent.
But yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
It's all right. I was going to say, it's going to be hard pressed for another film to top this.
Yes, we'd have to have a real look. And I think that's one where we would differ. I think this is one where we can both share a mutual love.
Yeah, I was surprised when I found out this was also your favorite film or your top 2.
One of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah. We usually have different tastes, but in this one we have come together. But this has been my favorite film ever since I saw it, since I was a teenager. So it's hard to see another film coming along and sort of beating it.
No, it is an excellent movie. Right, I think we'll leave it there. A very positive, glowing review, should we call it? See, we're not always horrible on this channel.
We're not. No,
if there is quality, we will praise it.
True. We do enjoy quality.
Yep. So please remember to like and subscribe and leave any suggestions for any other movies you'd like us to review. I think we could get on that quite easily.
Yeah, we could.
All right, brilliant.
So, see you on the next one.
Yep. See you soon.
Bye.